Hello everybody, my name is Sean. I'm here at ColDesi, and today's Tech Talk webinar is on sewing a left chest logo from start to finish. First thing you want to make sure is, when you're doing a left chest logo, is you want to find out what the garment is that, what the design garment is. You don't want to digitize something for a denim and you're going to end up sewing it on a polo shirt. For one, your density and your underlay will be totally different. You don't want to do something for a polo shirt and you're sewing it on a denim. So make sure that you do find out what you are sewing the design on from your customer, and then you will create and digitize your design that way. We just finished one here on a polo shirt of a left chest logo above a pocket. As you can see, the pocket is right here. So what we had done, we had hooped part of the pocket, obviously, and sewed this left chest logo on a nice polo shirt. Let it focus in, and there we go. So now that we've done that shirt, we have our next order to do. And so what we'll do first is we'll go ahead and load the new job with a USB stick. I'll place this in the drive. The design that we did previously is still up on screen, which you can see is right here on this display. So I will go ahead and hit the top right button to get out of embroidery status. It's going to ask me, do I want to exit? I say yes. It's going to turn my little yellow icon to the far left red. I'm now able to import my job. I will hit the top middle button to design management. I will scroll down to input design to memory. It's going to read what's on the USB stick. And depending on how many designs you have on your USB stick, depends on how long it takes to load them. You got a couple designs, can load a lot faster than if you have 50 designs on the USB stick. We will go through and find the design that we're going to do for a left chest. All right, and then once we highlight it, it's going to put us into design memory number 2. We press enter, it loads the job. If you got more jobs that you know that you're doing on designs for today, you can go ahead and select the next one and load that one and keep loading them to, design number 3, design number 4, design number 5 as you finish loading all your jobs for that day. When we're done, we'll go ahead and press escape. We're going to arrow back up to select design for embroidery. We're going to arrow up to the number 2 spot, select our job. Now we're going to go back into embroidery status, right at the top right button, enter. It's going to turn it back to yellow. The next thing I want to do is come over here. Tripped over the cord for my mic. Well, let me move the screen here. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to zoom into the table here, and we are going to hoop our garment. I've got my hoop. I've got my backing. I'll set one to the side. I've got 2 shirts here. I'll take one, set that to the side, grab the other shirt, and I'm going to go ahead and lay the shirt out on a table. Now, if you do have the all-in-one hooper, which Coleman & Company does sell, you'll notice on there you could actually set it up to do the same design on the same shirt, whether it be small, medium, medium XL, XL, double XL, exactly in the same spot every single time. For this Tech Talk, though, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. And I am going to take the inner ring hoop, loosen it up just a little bit, give it some slack. I'm going to place it inside the garment, take my 2 pieces of backing that I have cut away, and place that on top of the hoop, straighten my shirt back out, find out where I place the hoop, and then a good location, if you're doing it old-fashioned way, old school, is usually you're going to go over from where the seam meets the collar. You're going to go over about 1 inch. And then depending on the size of the shirt, you're going to come down roughly 6.5, usually for small or ladies' tees, to 7.5 for men's medium XL. So we'll go ahead and find a good placement. We'll place our hoop. And see, and when doing it the old-fashioned way, you've got to line it up so that when you hoop it, you've got to look at it and actually see if your hoop is straight in the shirt. If it is not straight, we simply unhoop it, fix our shirt, straighten it back up, and then rehoop it. As you see, my hoop slid. I'll put it back up top here, reposition it, hoop my garment, hold it up, and see if that looks straight in the shirt. If it looks straight, then what you want to do is you now want to go ahead and tighten up the shirt to sort of take out the wrinkles. And when you're tightening shirts, usually on t-shirts or PK knit or golf shirts, shirts that are very stretchy material, dry fit shirts like the one I'm wearing, you try not to tighten the shirt in the left and right direction, the side to side, because what happens is you've got a grain in the shirt that usually you can tell that runs up and down. So if you're stretching the shirt left and right, you're now taking that grain and you're making it wavy. So when you sew on it and you take the hoop out, what happens is the shirt is going to try to go back to the way it was when it was originally created, and those grooves are going to try to straighten itself back up. So now what you've got is you've got a very wrinkled garment, a design that looks like it's been rippled. So when tightening the shirt, it's best just to tighten top to bottom, and just tighten enough to get the wrinkles out, so that's nice and straight, nice and taut. We see in there, try to get all the wrinkles out. All right, once we do that, we're ready to place the design on the machine. So I'll go ahead and lift the neck of the shirt and place it around the neck of the embroidery machine. I'll slide my hoop on. I will make sure that I am not caught anywhere underneath, that I don't have my shirt buckled up underneath and you know, sewing the back to the front. That is the worst you want to do. I'll then go ahead and place my embroidery machine on needle number 1. I will then move my hoop to a location of where I see fit on where I previously measured to sew this logo. Usually it's going to be somewhere in the middle of the hoop. So once we have that, we want to next come in here and actually do our color changes. So we'll select color order, order back up. I know this design because we're going to sew the word Avance with the little squiggly line above it, so I know it's 2 colors. So the first color I want to sew in the light baby blue on needle number 1. So I will hit 1. Next color, I'm going to do it in the gold, which is on needle number 8. I will hit 8, and then I'll hit enter. If there are any other colors that were typed in, by pressing enter, the machine knows this design is 2 colors. It's going to delete everything else after that after the 2 colors you typed in. Once we have that set, we'll go ahead and down to our home key. We'll go to the 3rd option, which is set start point. Press enter. We then go back to home and choose a contour range check. And we're going to watch needle number 1 as it goes around the hoop to make sure that it's going to fit. As you can see, I'm lightly pulling down needle number 1 to where anytime I can release it, it will spring back up. You've also got the option, if you did purchase it, of a laser, and the laser is not on this machine. We have a training going on today, so Bernardo probably has it in the training room with his class. But what that will do is it'll shine a red light on the needle plate, so that when it's tracing, you're actually watching the red line go around your object to make sure it's not getting close to the hoop or hitting a pocket if you're sewing above a pocket. Are there any questions so far? Yes, that is a good question. Yeah, with the all-in-one hooper, it definitely makes hooping a lot easier, because by doing it on a table, you're pretty much guessing every time where you're placing that hoop on the left chest. With the all-in-one hooper, you're setting the guide points so that whenever you place the hoop on it, it's going to be placed in the exact same spot every single time. Also, if you're sewing on PK knit or polos, you might want to change the needles out you're sewing with from a sharp to a ball point, because a sharp will actually penetrate the garment, placing little tiny holes, so to speak. A ball point will go through those threads, drop your thread, and then it'll intertwine it, so it'll lock in there. All right, once we got everything ready, we're good to go. We'll simply come over here and press start. Now on the machine, I've got it set right now sewing at 900 stitches a minute. So with the machine, you've got two hoops of the same size. You've got a 90 centimeter, a 12 centimeter, a 15 centimeter, a 21 centimeter, and a 12 by 12 hoop. You get two each of those. So while we're sewing right now with the 12 centimeter hoop, you've got the next one over there hooping your next garment. So that when this is done, you're ready to put your next shirt on here. Simply just press start, because you've already set your colors, you've already set your start point, you've already traced it, you know it fits. So it's pretty much a plug and play. So if you've got 500 of these shirts to do, all you're simply doing is while one's sewing, you've unhooped the other one, you folded it, you put it in the box, and you've already hooped your next one, ready to go for the next sew. So you're never really in a downtime. Depending on the size of your design, depends on how long this will take to sew. Right now, we've gone just over a minute for this design that we're sewing with. So if you've got a design that's got 12,000 stitches, it's going to take 7 to 8, 10 minutes long. You can kind of guesstimate how long it's going to take to sew the complete job for your customer. All right, we have a thread break. And when that happens, what happens is the machine stops. The red light above comes on. You simply just rethread the needle. We'll go ahead and just press start. Give it some slack so it can pick up the bobbin. Let it take off first and actually grip and hold the bobbin before you actually yank the excess thread away. Because if you yank it away just when it starts to pick up, you'll end up breaking the thread and pulling it out of the needle. All right, we have a question right here. That's a good question. That's a good question. How do you prevent thread tails? Thread tails are basically when the machine sews a new section, it leaves the tail of the thread so that it doesn't tuck up underneath and grab the bobbin. So what happens is you've got these little tiny thread tails across the whole machine. Let me stop the machine. I'll show you real quick. We will go ahead and I'll trim this up real quick, right, and pull it far enough. A thread tail basically is, let's see if I can zoom in here. Say we started the first section right here, you would have a tail, 5 millimeters long, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter. What happens is, turn the light up so you can see it better. What happens is the way to prevent that is usually deals with your spring take-up lever, correct, right here. So if it is all the way up, it puts a lot of loose tension on the thread right here with your take-up springs. So what happens is you get a long tail because there's too much thread. So you want to lower it to where this is sticking straight out at you, and then maybe drop it down 1 or 2 clicks towards the ground. If this lever is faced flush with the machine or too far down, what happens is when you start new sections, start sewing. While you start new sections, is you usually get thread pullouts. So then you've got to stop the machine. You put the thread back through the needle. You restart it and go from there. And that's because there's too much tension on those springs. And therefore, because as soon as the needle goes down, there's so much tension, it pulls the thread out of the needle. Any other questions? As you see, it switched to its next color. All right, now see what it'll do is it'll go back to the center of the design. So you've already got your next garment hooped and ready to go. We would simply just remove this hoop, set it to the side, grab our other one, place it on the machine, and simply press start, and it will show the same design in the exact same spot all over again. This design, even after the 1 thread break and I stopped it to do a little talking, just took about 4 minutes and 2 seconds to sew. So if you give yourself a little leeway and say, okay, 5 minutes per shirt, then you can kind of guesstimate how long it will take to sew your garments. I got another question here. My spring tension is flush with the machine, and I still have thread tails. All right. What I would do is, first I would go ahead and move it back up, make it stick out straight out at you, drop it down 2 clicks, and then what I would do is on the machine, you want to go into the bottom right green button, scroll down to number 7, which is set machine perimeter. Is set machine perimeter, press enter, go into option number 1, set embroidery perimeter, and then you want to go down to option number 2, length after trim. If it's a high number, probably it's going to be like a 5, 6, or a 7, drop it down to a 3. Because with this, and with your top tensions, they all work together. So adjust the spring lever accordingly. Come in here and adjust your length after trim, say to a 3 or a 2 if it's already at a 4 or a 3. And then your top tensions, usually a good starting point for the top tensions is you've got the silver screw just in the center of your tension knob. If you look on the inside of the tension knob, you should see roughly 2 to 3 threads before it hits that silver screw. If you're seeing too many, you want to tighten this outside knob up until you get to about 2 or 3 threads. If this is flush with the knob, back off a couple of turns. If it's really tight, obviously loosen it up a little bit. We do have on our support website at www.support.coldesi.com. If you go to the far right, we have all our webinar tech talks. You should see a video on there for tensions. And Heath goes through the machine on how to set the tension for the bobbin according to setting the tension for the spring levers, spring lever as well as your tension knobs up top. If you don't, just put a call into the queue, and we'd be happy to get you that video with the eye test that Heath did use. Are there any questions on sewing a garment on left chest logo from start to finish? Move you back a little bit. Sorry about that if I'm making people dizzy. There we go. Do we have any questions on the embroidery machine, sewing left chest logos? If you're sewing on polos, you can slow the machine down to 800, 850. Like I said, I had this one running at 900, and we just buzzed right through it. You can also take the stitch count of the design and divide it by how fast you're going to sew it. That'll give you an estimated time of how long it will take to sew. Are there any other questions for this tech talk today? Let's see. She wants to know, can she sew a left chest logo on caps without changing the design? Yeah, it depends on the design though, and as long as it fits inside the sewing limits of the cap. You know, usually for caps you want to start from the center and work your way out because of the two seams. You want to be able to tack them down. I happen to have a hat right here. You want to be able to tack these two seams down right here, because if you sew over here and push, what happens is this seam is different from this seam, so you kind of get a little bit of a ripple effect right here. So you want to try to start from the middle out. But for example, my left chest logo right here, the ColDesi, you can take this, throw it on a hat with no problems and no issues. It's when you start getting into a lot of fill sections and you're filling it from this side to this side, what happens is you get a ripple right where the seams, where the two seams meet. So it depends on the logo, but other than that, you can take a left chest logo and put it on a hat, as long as it fits inside those the sewing perimeters. All right, any other questions? All right. I hope everybody learned something today or got some kind of knowledge. I do appreciate you coming out and out of your busy schedule and joining me today to sew a left chest logo from start to finish. You know, I appreciate everybody taking the time out. And, oh, we got a question. See, how to align sewing above a pocket. In the software, if you're using our software of Stitch Our Liberty, you can actually have the start point. Rather than be in the middle of the design, you can have it in the bottom middle, so that when you're hooping your garments, you can actually place the needle where it's going to start at the bottom middle, just above the pocket, so that when it traces, it goes along the line of the pocket, up, over, and back down and across the line, so you can see how close you're actually getting to the pocket. And I would just align the center according to how wide the pocket is, find the middle of that, and then that'll be the center above the pocket to do your sew out.